our webinar today. We are giving you a sneak peek at what we do here at BLiNK AI, which I consider to be one of the best kept secrets in the industry. I'm Ashley Norton. I've been in the industry for over a decade now, and I am excited for our first show at NADA this year with BLiNK AI. With me today is DJ McGee. DJ, I'll let you sing your own song and introduce yourself to the people.
Yeah, how's it going, everyone? DJ McGee. I'm the VP of Dealership Sales here at BLiNK. Been with the company since day one. I'm literally employee number one here when we decided to go to market. I've been in the automotive industry for almost 20 years. A lot of experience everywhere from selling cars to a lot of experience on the vendor side, and really just kind of understanding both sides of that desk.
All right, you ready to get started?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so share with the audience our mission here at BLiNK AI.
I could give you a bunch of marketing jargon, but at the end of the day, you know what it is? It's this. It's creating happier customers. Happy customers come back more often. They spend more money when they get there, and then they come back more regular. Ultimately driving them through your service department's going to feed your sales department, and just kind of keep that life cycle ownership, solid, and keep that retention up at your store.
Yep. I like the first bullet point here, though, optimizing the service scheduling experience. I think we're going to dive pretty deep into that today. So this is a study by Cox Automotive. They've done this study twice now, correct?
That's correct. Yeah, 2017 and 23.
Yep. And trusted dealers has eroded, and nearly half of service customers are frustrated by some or all of their experience with dealership service departments. We'll dive a little bit deeper into that. This is a study by J.D. Power. Again, key drivers of trust erosion, long wait times. Does that surprise you?
Not at all. Not at all, man. I tell you, like when I go to when I'm making dealer visits in the field with the sales team, if we walk into a service department before 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning, the lobby's full, the drive's full, people are running around crazy. And you constantly see people looking at their watches, customers looking at their watch. I mean, it's really the last step in a cascade of events that leads them down this path.
Yeah, to make it the number one driver.
Yeah.
Lots of transparency. What are your thoughts on that?
This is really interesting, right? And so when we actually polled customers, because we found this to be intriguing as well, because it sounds kind of generalized. And here's what we found. It was, well, when I got the coupon in the mail, it said it was $70 for me to get my oil change. But when I showed up, it was $129.95. And the explanation I got was, well, that's for the 4-quart non-synthetic. You need the 6-quart semi-synthetic with the Dexos, blah, blah, blah. And it's how am I supposed to know that, right? Like as a consumer, I just feel kind of misled, right? So in order for that customer to feel the transparency, they have to diagnose their own car correctly before scheduling that service. And it's just kind of the wheels fall off at step one.
Yeah. Something Dave, our CEO, says often is people would rather go to their dentist than take their car to the shop. Inconsistent dealership experiences. I'll speak on this one. This is a big one for me. If I go to my local Jiffy Lube, right? I drive up, they know their process, step 1, step 2, step 3. Every single time the experience is nearly the same, no matter who is servicing my car. At the dealership, that is seldom the truth. If you're showing up without an appointment, or you show up with an appointment and 3 people ahead of you showed up without an appointment, now there's chaos. Now the service advisors are trying to adjust, and they're trying to get everybody in. And it's not that they don't want to do a good job. It's not that they don't want to give you a good experience. It's just there's chaos in the service drive constantly. That's my 2 cents on that, for what it's worth.
Yeah, completely agree.
Appointment scheduling difficulties.
Man, this is just all over the board. I mean, difficulties is kind of a vast understatement here. I'll just throw out a couple statistics from NADA, Cox. There's a number of J.D. Power studies, et cetera. 70% abandonment rate for dealerships' websites when a customer goes to schedule online. Even the best schedulers, as far as like simplicity, outside of BLiNK AI, and we can talk about that in a moment. But everyone else is seeing like a 30% completion rate, a 7 out of 10 abandonment. Well, then, okay, what is step two? Now we're going to call the dealership, right? 42% of all service calls go unanswered. 60% of all voicemails for the service department aren't called back.
Oh,
I
for
mean,
sure.
it's yeah, absolutely. I'm actually surprised that number four, that appointment difficulty, scheduling difficulties is number four and not substantially higher.
Yeah, me too. It's such a pain to just
Yeah,
get through getting an appointment, right? Like you
absolutely.
said earlier, I don't need to tell the dealership what kind of oil I need. I don't need to diagnose my own car. Like, just give me an appointment.
Yeah.
Um, Lack of communication and updates. This is one for me as well. I get infuriated when I have my car at the dealership and I have to call and beg someone to tell me what's going on, to figure out when I'm getting my car back. You know, is it today? Is it tomorrow? Does it have to stay overnight? And there's so many tools and technologies that we can use to make this process better and easier. But yeah, that's a big one for me. That's a big frustration point for me. And then negative online reviews and word of mouth.
Yeah, this is this is kind of the result of a lot of 1 through 5, right? And I want to touch on 5 real quick, if that's okay. The lack of communication and updates. I want to throw out another couple stats. 25% of all service calls are to schedule. 45% are to check status.
Yeah.
You can tell me, Domino's can tell me if they're putting pepperonis on my pizza, but you can't tell me if my oil change is done. That's bizarre to me, how nearly half of all cars are, or calls for the dealership are, was my car ready or not? Nobody's
Yeah.
told me anything. And so when I get down to this point, right, because like this list of 1 through 5 is not, well, just customer X only struggled with option 3, right? Or with number 3, and customer X only struggled with 4. Every one of these issues have just happened. And it's just this cascade of negative events have all occurred that, yeah, absolutely. Dealerships all across the country are struggling, trying to figure out how do I get my reviews up, right? And sales departments and service departments alike. And there's a lot of companies out there trying to drive CSI boosters and such to not to fake positive, but to get as many positive feedbacks as they can, because there's going to be negative
Well,
there.
yeah, naturally. If I have a bad experience, I'm going to tell everybody about it. If I have a decent experience, then I'm just going to move on with my day, right?
Exactly.
So, and again, I mean, DJ, we've been in this industry for a long time. We know that dealers want to do a good job. We know service advisors want to do a good job. It's just, like you said, it's just a cascade of events that lead down this path.
Yeah.
Which takes us to our next slide, which is the foundational issue. Like you said before, the standard web scheduler has a 70% abandonment rate. It's because our schedulers are too difficult to navigate. Think about Amazon. Like, I don't have to tell Amazon my mom's name, my dog's name, my sister's name to make it, to make an order. I just have to click a couple of buttons and we're good to go. That's not the case with a lot of our schedulers.
Yeah, agreed.
So like you said, once the customer abandons the web scheduler because they couldn't get to an appointment, or they don't know their trim level, or they don't know what service they need because you're offering every service under the sun, then they have to call the dealership to simplify it. And they want to talk to someone, but they can't because we're busy. And 42% of those calls go unanswered. And then what happens, DJ?
It's that beat the rush scenario, right? I still need service in my car. I tried booking online, couldn't get it done. I called, you didn't answer. I left a voicemail, you didn't call me back. I still need service done. Now I'm going to show up, like maybe I'll be the first one at the store unannounced, 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning. Interestingly enough, in a DA recent study, 82% of all customers at new car service drives at 8 a.m., 82% don't have an appointment.
Yeah.
Right. It's just you talk about what was number one on the previous slide, long wait times.
Yep. 100%. So a little common core math here. If we have less abandoned web appointments, we will have less inbound calls because more people can schedule their appointment without ever having to phone the dealership. All right. So now it's time to tell the people what we do.
Yeah, absolutely. So stop talking about yesterday. Let's talk about today. Let's talk about tomorrow. So what we've done is we've built the digital service suite. Okay, we want to offer a comprehensive, complete solution anywhere your customers want to communicate with you. We offer AI-powered automation. Our advanced web scheduler sees upwards of a 90% completion rate. 90% completion. Again, I'll reiterate, everyone else is struggling to get to the 30% mark and they're failing at that. And we're completing at 90%. Plus, we also have some digital scheduling. We have integration with both Apple and Google, allowing guests to just Google your service department. And there's a big blue button there that belongs to BLiNK. They can schedule right there. On top of that, any customer that does call, our intelligent phone automation, less than 60 seconds. Less than 60 seconds. They literally touch two buttons on their phone, schedule their appointment. We can also tell them if their car's ready to be picked up or not.
Yep.
Again, going back to 25% schedule, 45% for status, we can automate up to 70% of that inbound phone traffic. On top of, we also at various strategic intervals will text your customers, letting them know they have service due, open recalls, etc., through our service campaign manager.
There you go. Nice little 30,000 foot view there, DJ.
Yeah.
All right, so let's do a poll. For our live audience, sorry if you're joining us on demand later, but for our live audience, we want to ask you, how many steps does it take for your customers on your website to schedule an appointment? Is it 3 to 4 clicks? Is it 5 to 6? Is it 7 to 27? Or is it that maybe you just don't know? We've never looked, right? We set up the scheduler, we moved on, and we set it and forget it. If you don't know, click don't know. We're gonna give you a few seconds here, but DJ, what do you think? What do you think is going to be the result here?
You know, I think that we're going to find that that there's going to be a lot of D, right? I think there's going to be a lot of I don't know. It's status quo. Status quo today is a clunky experience, and I don't think that that we do a good enough job in the industry of auditing, inspecting what we expect. And I think there's just a lot of people on the call right now are scratching their forehead saying, shoot, I have no idea. I'm just going to take a wild guess. And there's some guys that are running through their website real quick trying to cheat. So we'll see.
No cheating. All right. Let's see where we're at in the poll right now. Okay. So you were wrong.
Yes.
All right. So only 5% of our audience knows and says it only takes 3 to 4 steps to get through. I wonder if that 5% is our active BLiNK AI customers joining the call today. 15% says it's 5 to 6 steps, which is, leaning on tedious, but 45% of our audience knows that it takes more than 7 steps. What do you think, DJ?
Yeah, I'm impressed. I'm impressed. It seems like I underestimated our crowd today for sure. Seems like you guys have your finger on the pulse, because if you're looking at why is there a 70% abandonment rate, it's not because it's a 3 or 4 step process. That's for sure. So
yeah, I mean, and the way I see it is the schedulers are built for the dealership, right? They're built for shop management. They're built so that the service advisors are aware and prepared, and they're almost overcomplicated in this way for a reason, maybe because of all of the chaos that can come when you're not prepared. But in today's world, there's enough integrations and data that you don't have to ask the customer, what's your trim level? What oil do you need? You don't have to. So, I always want to back up our industry because we want to do a good job. We've just done things as maybe Band-Aids for other things. Does that make sense, DJ?
It makes total sense. And I would tag onto that. And yeah, absolutely. It's built for the dealership, right? Ultimately, the dealership is the customer of that said scheduling system.
Mm.
And in order to create this shop load or shop flow technique that the said service is trying to adopt. It's, in hindsight, it's like, I need all this information. And the reality is that's at the expense of the customer. Right?
Yep.
Asking a customer a simple question like, what is the VIN? You might as well ask them to recite the Greek alphabet. I have no idea. It's cold outside. I'm not going to my car to get it. I mean, you can tell me that you can sell me a brand new car and drop my payments. You know exactly what my payments are, my credit score are, but you can't tell me what my VIN is. I bought the car from you, right? Like it's just unnecessary.
Yeah. Yep. I just went through that. Okay. So starting with the website, we have the BLiNK AI web scheduler. The goal is to eliminate scheduling bottlenecks. We just want to simplify it.
Yeah. Yeah. 4 clicks to book. I mean, it knows who you are, knows your vehicle. I mean, it literally needs op code, day and time. And then we put our op codes into easy, or our menu into easy to understand language, not asking the customer, is it differential? Is it brakes? Is it et cetera, et cetera? Is it quick lane? Is it main shop? Or is it an open recall? Ultimately, what the shop needs to know and what the customer understands.
Yeah. And that's in the back end, right? That we control that in the scheduling interface. And we just streamline it. Just make it simple, make it easy.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have what is shiny and fancy and new in today's world is digital voice automation.
Thank you for calling Modern Dealership. For English, press 1.
Para español, presione 2.
To check on the status of your vehicle in service, press 1. To schedule service, press 2. For everything else, press 3. Welcome back, Brittany. I found your account. Please select from the following options. For an oil change or factory recommended maintenance, press 1. For all recalls, press 2. For all other repairs or concerns, press 3. Please note that if you intend to wait at the dealership, morning appointments may have a longer wait time. For a shorter wait time, please choose an afternoon appointment. Please select from the following time options. For the earliest available appointment this Friday, February 16th at 9 a.m., press 1. For the first, I have booked your service appointment for this Friday, February 16th at 9 a.m. One last thing. With used car prices at an all-time high, would you be interested in talking with a member of our sales team about potentially upgrading to a new or different car? If yes, press 1. If no, press 2 or simply hang up.
Now, do we have a poll for the audience on how many BDCs ask if you would like to trade your car on every appointment scheduled? I'm kidding.
We can do that next time. No, I would doubt that they often do. What has often been put in place is that step of the, would you like it to speak to a salesperson, that comes later. And it's an additional step that the BDC has to take if they have the process in place to phone the people the day of or the day before their appointment and then ask them again. So just adding that extra step in there. But digital voice automation, digital voice AI, conversational AI, it's all like, it's the big, shiny, fancy words of today, right? And it's what a lot of people, a lot of companies are doing, but they're skipping the first step, which is reducing the number of people that even have to call. But when they do call, then we can handle 70% of that phone traffic automatically. We're scheduling the appointments directly in your scheduler or directly in your DMS. And if a customer hangs up, then we even have a follow-up text when they hang up.
Yeah, and then also on the web. So if we do have someone that's on the web, it's just kind of like the abandoned cart that you may find on Amazon or online shopping. If
Yep.
someone's on your website and they're looking, and let's say that the calendar's full on the day they were planning to come in, so they had to abandon that session and check their calendar to come back, we text those customers as well. Say, hey, did you need help scheduling? Just to keep that customer engaged throughout the process, and just kind of minimize those that fall through the cracks for sure.
Yeah, that abandoned cart, man. Shein gets me every time I decide not to place my order. All right, so we've handled the web, we've handled the phone. What's next?
Man, this is time to outreach, right? There's that completion of the life cycle ownership, right? We've handled the like to your point, we've handled it on the web, we've handled it on the phone. Now it's 5 months later, and said customer, it's time for them to come back in for service. We send out a text message, letting them know that their vehicle's due for service. It is intuitive, it's predictive. And we actually, based off of a number of parameters that we use, can predict the day and time they want to come in. They can simply get the text, either touch a button or reply yes, and have that appointment booked for them. Open safety recalls, we communicate those with your team very clearly to make sure that we're only sending out the recalls that you guys do the service for and that the parts are available, et cetera. And then we notify your customers that it's time to come in and have those done. This thing is stellar. Think about the other text campaigns on the market. They see about a 3% conversion. It's 2 to 4% is on average nationally. We're almost 7 times that amount. And it's because the customer gets it. It knows the customer knows the vehicle again, but this time it also knows the op code. We simply need the day and time, and then the predictive technology. We already have that. We just need, okay, cool. Yes, I'll do it. It really makes it simple for your customers.
Yeah, simplicity is the best. I get these kind of texts from my dog's groomer, right? They're like, Ashley, your dog hasn't been in for 42 days to get a haircut. I'm like, yes, check the box. Let's go.
Can we sign my dog groomer up for that? Because I'm terrible about remembering.
I'll call him. I'll call him tomorrow.
Appreciate it.
All right. So that's kind of the pillars of what we do, right? We handle the web, we handle the phones, and we handle the follow-up. But then we have a few shiny bells and whistles that we want to touch on, and I'll let you take this one.
Sales leads is one of my favorite. It's probably the most underutilized opportunity. It is that real estate, whether it's it's there on your website or it's their ear as they're calling in to schedule over the phones, is arguably the most engaged that customer will ever be in the lifetime ownership of that vehicle. They've just given you all the information, have a 95% show rate, are coming to your dealership, and are probably going to be there for 2 to 3 hours. On top of that, yes, I'm willing to talk to a member of the sales team. You notice that we don't offer up things like, would you like to see the vehicle history of your car? Would you like to know the value of your vehicle? It's, hey, are you interested in trading that old sled and getting into something brand new? We use strong language. We like to talk to the sales team, really teeing up a salesperson calling them, not the salesperson calling them. They say, no, I just wanted to know what my vehicle history looked like. Really using strong language, and we see a really high conversion from that.
Yeah, and it's crucial in today's economy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Service score is one of my favorites. So right after the RO is closed, we are sending a text message like you can see here. DJ, how was your experience? It was great. And, or it wasn't. The goal here is, yes, we want to see a lot of 5 stars, but we want to know where our 3 and 4 stars are also. And we definitely want to know where our 1 and 2 stars are. So we can immediately alert you when a customer reports a poor experience. What I see a lot in the back end when people are giving feedback is, I had an appointment and I had to wait at the dealership for 3 hours for an oil change. But we can alert you before your OEM alerts you that, hey, you're getting a lot of 1 and 2 stars, which enhances your CSI, enhances your bonuses for a lot of our OEMs. So this is one of my favorite pieces of the bells and whistles.
Yeah.
Okay. So after everything, our customer focused solutions change everything about the service experience. Our customers see a 50+%, just depends on the dealership, right? Depends on how deep we go, but in total appointments, How do we increase in dollars per RO?
So that's pretty interesting. So there's a lot of studies out there that compare the RO value on a walk-in versus an appointment. And they all pretty much agree that the average appointment will spend $53 more per RO than a walk-in, right?
Okay.
And to talk to that, kind of the first number leads to the second number. I could reference a Toyota store that we had or still have in the San Antonio market, and they signed up with us in summertime. They were 20% appointment, 80% walk-in. I talked to them in January. It was exactly 6 months later. They were 80% appointment, 20% walk-in. Their average RO dollars were climbing like crazy, and their CSIs had never been better.
Yeah. And I bet their service advisors had never been less stressed.
Yeah, to say the least.
So this is a testimonial from one of our dealers, a dear friend, BLiNK AI. Appointment capture rate skyrocketed from less than 10% to nearly 45%.
Yeah, 5x increase. And interestingly enough, I actually talked to Chris. You just said something. You said, I bet their service advisors have never been less stressed. I talked to Chris this past summer, and I was asking him how things were going. He and I met up, and he said, DJ, my team has never sold more 30K and 50K services in the history of the store. And I said, really? Well, tell me more about that, right? Because I knew where this was going, but I wanted to hear it from his mouth. He said, they're able to have consultative conversations. They, being my advisors, are able to have consultative conversations in the service drive, take their time with each customer, not have to look at the phones, the flashing lights, because there's 18,000 phone calls coming in at that given moment. And they're really able to spend time. And man, he was just through the moon.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's almost makes me think of like a spa experience, right? If I walk in and it's chaos everywhere, it's a disaster. But if I walk in and I'm taken care of, and they can upsell me all day long, right?
You sound like my wife now, by the way.
Love a good spa day. All right, so here's the dealer case study, 32.5% increase in ROs. Now, DJ, you were close with this store. What's the story here?
Yeah, I got a phone call from my field rep, and she was sitting in this GM's office. And here's what he told me verbatim. He said, DJ, look, we're doing everything we can to keep up. We're running at 100% shop capacity. I can't take 25 extra customers. I can't take one extra customer. I am completely at capacity. I just need help getting my appointment scheduled because my phones won't stop ringing. And I said, no problem. Obviously we have a lot of automation. We can handle that. However, I've heard that before. And I started asking him about, hey, are you overrun at 8 a.m.? How does that 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon look? Oh man, it's substantially slower. And I was like, okay, so there's an opportunity there, right? It's kind of like the movie Dumb and Dumber. So you're saying there's a chance, right? I kind of got encouraged by that. And sure enough, look at this. They were averaging 1,095 total ROs. These are just CP and warranty, 1,095 a month. February. Yeah, at capacity, right? Month one, first full month with BLiNK. We went live in January, split month, so there's no need to report on that. February, first month, just BLiNK, 1,454, averaging 1,451 CP and warranty ROs a month, almost a 1/3 increase in his book of business. And it's funny because we let it ride for a little while because we knew, like, oh my gosh, this guy's numbers are just through the roof. Like, he's going to be so pumped. We went back about 6 months later, and I thought he was going to give me a hug and a kiss, right? The guy was just so excited. He said, I didn't think we had it, but you're absolutely right. My afternoons have never been so full.
Yeah, it's awesome. And he was doing web, phone, and follow-up, or just webs and phones?
He's the whole enchilada. He loves it.
All right. And this one, I'm not familiar with this one, so you'll have to cover this one too.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is one of the Hudson Automotive stores, Lexus of Dayton. So we did something interesting here. We like to show this light switch moment because there's so many hucksters that have come before us in this industry that promise these blue sky results, and they take the worst month and compare it to the best. Well, here's what we did on this store. We took the 6 months prior to BLiNK AI, prior to enrolling with us, and we compared it to the first 6 months of using us. just like the light switch moment. They were doing 1,015 CP in warranty, averaging 586 a month in the shop. Immediately saw 124 more CP in warranty, making over $40,000 a month increase. Not taking the worst month without us and the best month with us. Immediate change.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't hate, $40,000 more a month in revenue. I bet their service advisors were happy there.
That's a substantial return for sure.
All right, so we covered a lot, and it's your turn for questions. Please drop them in the chat, and we will cover them. We've already had a couple come through. DJ, one of the questions is, will this replace my scheduler?
Fantastic question. Very common question. The answer is absolutely no. We need a place to put our appointments. But let's talk about that for a moment. My scheduler. So those are shop management systems that you're using, right? The scheduler piece is a byproduct of it. Let's think about this shiny little computer that lives in our pocket. What do we call it? We call it a phone. Interestingly enough, the phone application is the least used application on the whole thing, but for some reason we call that a phone. Okay, great. That's basically what you're calling your scheduler. Anything that has a 70% abandonment rate, it's not a scheduler. So what we do is we have integrations with every DMS and every shop management system across the country. And we actually just take over the high converting UI for your customers, give that fantastic experience. And then we plug and play all of our appointments into your current calendar schedule. And so that we don't overbook you. And it's all per your capacities.
That was the next question, is what do you integrate with? So you just covered on that, but touch again on the per your capacities, because I think that is important. Yeah. Especially when you look at that case study and you look at the dealer who said, I can't handle any more appointments. I think a lot of people might be weary to say, we're going to give you another 400 appointments a month, and I can't handle that. So touch again on the capacities and how we control that.
Yeah, absolutely. So whatever capacities you have set in your shop is exactly what we're going to mirror. In most cases, we can directly pull those from your scheduler, depending on what that integration looks like, if those kind of APIs, as we call it, are available. If not, we would gather all that information from you in a very simple onboarding call. From that, it's not going to do me or you any good if I send 5,000 appointments to you and you can't handle but about 600 of them, right? It's going to make your customers angry. It's going to make you angry. And then my phone's going to ring, and that's not fun for anyone. So we want to make sure that we mold into your process, that you're not having to mold into ours.
Yep. Love it. And you just touched there with the onboarding. The last question I see here is time to launch. What about time to launch?
Yeah. So start to finish, we have stores that go live in as little as a week, depending on the entire package that you select that fits best for your store. If you did the full digital service suite, then you're looking at about 3 weeks roughly from start to finish. I'll also put it like this: we can move as fast as you can. So yeah. There's just a couple things, like it's super easy for our dealers. At most, you may have to reply all approved to an email, and you would spend about 15-ish minutes on a Teams or a Zoom call with the onboarding team, gathering a couple things, and then we would communicate with you, send over test leads, et cetera, or test appointments rather, just to make sure that everything was good before we turned it on for your customer. So very simple. We do all the heavy lifting for you.
Excellent. So if you're ready to transform your service operations, what can you do next? You can call 737-777-8879 and talk to DJ right now. You can send us an email at sales@blinkai.com, scan the QR code, or go to the website.
Actually, that's my cell phone number. I didn't realize you were going to put my cell phone out here. Yeah, call me, guys. I'd love to talk.
I'm sorry.
I'm teasing.
I didn't want to give my cell phone number. I think you give yours. All right. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. If you have any other questions, drop us a line, call DJ, harass him, and we will see you at an ADA.
Excellent. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.